Good evening, everybody. It's been a few weeks, I think, since I did a YouTube live video. Um, it's odd because I actually just recorded a video to put out for my channel today, which is in, my normal like shifting videos that I do. I try to get at least one of those out each month um, as part of, my outreach. And the thing about YouTube, how I've come to use the platform is actually that's how people find me that want to work with me is they come across one of my videos and um, they get to experience a little bit of what I do. And so for me, it's kind of like free advertising, but it's also a give back. So like people get something out of it for no cost to them except for a little bit of their time, and then they possibly come and support my work either on Patreon, or they become clients, or both. Sometimes, a lot of times, a lot of my Patreon supporters are also clients. So it's been, I think, 2 weeks since I put up a streaming video like this. And the last time I did, I was kind of on an upswing, and then this last week I had kind of a downswing. I didn't get much done. I didn't really use my time very well. I was just down, and part of it was the weather because it was a lot cooler than it usually is this time of year. And then also it was, I wasn't able to be outside because I do have seasonal allergies, believe it or not. And the oak pollen was just so high. I tried to practice out my Tai Chi and Qigong outside, and I came in, I could breathe. And I've got the windows open now, and as you can hear, I'm a little congested from that. But I did practice outside today because it is a little bit better. And I find that any days where I can be outside for part of the day, where I can get some sunlight, even if it's somewhat overcast, if the weather is pleasant enough to be outside, to do my physical practices outside, I feel 10 times better than when I'm up in the house. So I'm kind of grateful that if this had to happen, that it's happening during the warmer time of the year, because if this was happening in the winter, I would be I struggle with the winter anyway, and the lack of light. That was a big shock when I moved here as a child. I was born in Florida, South Florida, and so the time didn't really change that much. The big thing, the time change, that made the big difference. But I live in Kentucky right now, which is a lot further north than Florida, and I still to this day struggle with that darkening time of the year. And so now we've moved into the light half. We have been for a month. It's been a month since the equinox, and I've been enjoying the extra light. And it's an interesting time right now. And I've talked about this with certain people, privately, that we're in a period of time that, we're right in the center of things. We're right at the crux. And the world, for better or worse, will not be the same when we come out of this. The good news is that we're in a place where anything can happen. Change that seemed impossible, a year ago could happen. The bad news is that we're in a place where anything's possible. And so, things could get worse or better, and it's really going to be kind of up to us which direction that goes. It always is, but we've been shocked out of our normal operating mode now long enough that we're starting to, notice things. It's different when you go on a vacation, when you're, gone for a week or two, because you fully expect that, you're going to go back. To right where you were before. And I'm looking at things And last week I did my Patreon teleconference, and it was all the focus of it was all around this feeling of uncertainty. And the messaging that came through from that call was so clear. I mean, I get hints and guidance while I'm doing stuff and working, but this one was just so crystal clear, uh, minimal filter of my own perception. I'm trying to find a path forward for us during that teleconference, and I'm seeing the path, but it's also obscured. It was like in a dust storm, and I'm like, okay, so how do we move forward? And I just hear the words, wait. And anytime I tried to clear forward, it was like, wait. And so I feel like we're in this time of waiting, you know. Um, I've been rethinking about, my work-life balance, where I'm putting my energies, what's been giving back to me and what hasn't been really, what's a fair trade for my time and my efforts. And knowing that I don't know that I can go back to exactly how I was operating before this, even if my other jobs are still there afterwards, because I mean, there's no guarantee that they will be. For those of you that don't know, I also teach Tai Chi and Qigong at various community centers in my area. And those facilities will probably be the last to reopen. Um, and the populations that I particularly work with are in the most vulnerable categories. They tend to be seniors, or they tend to be people going through chemo and radiation. So for that reason, I don't expect to see them for quite some time, until pretty much after there's a vaccine. So in between now and then, I'm not quite sure where to go. I'm experimenting more with streaming. I've been streaming for one of the community centers, my weekly Tai Chi class that I teach there. And that's been an education and media and how to adapt. Um, and lots of ups and downs, and I'm trying to just honor that and not get on myself when I haven't been productive. Today has been a productive day. Um, I put out a new video, streamed a class. I did a long practice outside. I cleaned, put laundry away. Just basic domestic stuff, but needed to be done. Getting ready to do some work in my ceramic studio to test some things. All of that, but tomorrow I may feel different. Tomorrow I may not have the energy. Tomorrow I may see something that really upsets me, and I have to deal with that, and that's okay. Um, Again, there's so much of a push. And you could hear what I just said today. I was productive, and I puffed up for that, But life is not just about how productive you are. Um, I can't tell you how many times I asked somebody how their day was, and they listed how much they got done. And I asked them again, but how was your day? And they said, well, didn't you hear I did all these things? And which is different than, and it's not, you haven't answered the question, how was your day? How were you today? How are you feeling? How was your experience of the day? I mean, productivity, once you got done, can be part of it. You can feel like, hey, I accomplished something. But we have tied our identity and our well-being to how productive we are. And I don't, again, I don't know quite the way forward. This is going to be a completely different experience. Oh, thanks. I see divine and aligned. Agreed. Anything is possible. Yeah. So a group of friends of mine who often will get together and sort of focus on what we want to dream into the world. Hey, Atreides Duncan. Is that we look for the Gene Roddenberry future, that Star Trek future where their poverty has been eliminated, everyone's got food. Of course, that's replicators. And we're looking for what parallel universe is that the Roddenberry future, and where's my Star Trek universe, right? And it's usually a few universes over. And what's exciting is that, maybe after this, it might not even be a few universes over. Maybe it's just one universe over. Maybe we've stepped into it. We don't know yet. And again, I am not trying to minimize anybody's trauma during this at all. I'm trying to remind myself that things don't always necessarily get worse. And if you follow me on Facebook, sometimes I'm tongue in cheek because I will post quotes. And the quote I posted today was from one of my favorite book series, The Expanse, which I've been watching on Amazon. And I just finished the 4th season. But one of my favorite characters is Ava Sarala. She's the UN secretary. She's the leader of Earth, basically. And she is a badass. I just cuss. Oh, well. Well, I'm not going to put marketing on this anyway. So, but she is just tough. And she says it like it is. And one of her quotes is, the ongoing revelation of my life is that I've not been cynical enough. And, considering what she has to deal with in the story, that makes perfect sense. But lately I've been feeling that way. I'm like, sheesh, I've not been cynical enough considering what's going on and how it's being handled. So, but today was a good day for me. Today I felt good. I got out. I even taught my mother how to walk a labyrinth. So her church has one, but she never knew which one was the path and which was the wall. And so we went there because there was nobody there. And they have it out by a side one of their gardens. And it was a beautiful day. So I was like, this would be a good day for me to show you how to do this. So we got on and I showed her, how to walk the path in and go in. And it's nice. I think it's a 12 circuit. It's very small, but, because the paths are just very narrow, just enough for you to, 2 feet side by side. And it was nice. I haven't walked a labyrinth in quite some time. One of the things about labyrinths, the little twists and turns that they have, you going back and forth and back and forth, it's supposed to balance the right to your range. And if you look at, just the way it folds in like that, it reminds me of, the brain, the way the folding of the brain tissue goes too. So, but it'd been so long, and it was something a friend of mine, a former friend of mine, was really into labyrinths and walking the labyrinth and the spiritual journey of the labyrinth. And I really hadn't walked one in years, I think, because of the way that friendship had ended. It was, pretty tragic and sad, and there was a lot of anger and stuff. I've talked about it on my blog before, which is one of the reasons why I really started really blogging. Was right after that friendship ended, and which made me a better writer, which enabled me to write my first book. And I like to say I'm working on my second one. I'm slowly doing some of the work towards working on that second one. It's really it's about waking the light in dark times. So it's like the perfect opportunity right now to work on it, right? Because we're in a dark time and we're looking for the light. And what it is that I'm going through the chakra systems, but I'm viewing each chakra as a medicine wheel and journeying to the different points on the medicine wheel and the spirits associated with that for healing work in each of the chakras. And I will tell you, it is intense. I mean, it is so intense. It took me about a year to do just the root chakra journeys. And it was, everything was echoed back out in my day-to-day world. So when I was working in the root chakra, I had a lot of security issues. I had being attacked, or being threatened, like physically threatened from people. So that was really just, and didn't dawn on me until I was almost through all of those journeys, what was going on. I was like, gosh, you know, I mean, I was even like traumatized at one point because, someone tried, like, threatened to, like, threaten me in the locker room as an adult. I'm like, "What?" And it was weird because, I teach martial arts, and I was really afraid that I was going to kill this person if they attacked me, and all the trouble that would ensue for that. So it was weird. Not that I was looking forward to that. Like, I really did not want that to happen. I really did not want to get into a fight. I really did not want to have a physical confrontation. And one of the things I got out of my going through all the journeys with the root chakra was just how much I would not occupy space, how I tried not to take any space. Um, and just, it was really about, being secure, and that was okay for me to occupy space. It was okay for me to be here and to be in a body and to have physical needs and to have boundaries with people. So now I'm in the sacral chakra, and I would like to say that one's been easier, but it hasn't. It hasn't taken as long either. I'm not even halfway through the year, and I've only got one journey left in that one. Um, but that one has been all about, feelings of rejection and abandonment and not feeling supported is the big thing. And so what I'm seeing echoed out in the world right now is so many people feel not supported, by circumstances, by society, by their government, um, family, by their work, anything. I'm looking around. I'm almost scared to start the third chakra because I'm like, God, that one gonna be like? What is that gonna bring forward? And I also know that the third chakra is going to be one of my tougher ones. That's where I tend to struggle a lot, is in that will and projecting and, confidence, right? Which is, of course, why I need to do this. So part of this is all work for this book, is to go through the whole chakra system and do those journeys and see what comes up, get the healing from different energies and spirits for that. And that won't be the whole book, but it's going to be a huge part of it. um, and it's one of those things, when I did my first book, which was about runes, and I did all the rune journeys, and they were just profound, really intense journeys in a very different way. Like, I could only do so many of them at a time. Like, I'd do one. Doing one a week was kind of ambitious, really. It was more like 1 to 2 a month. Uh, and but this is intense in a totally different way because it's in my own energy field. It's in my own body. Um, and as I was telling people about this, they said, "Oh, you should teach a workshop on that after you're done." I was like, no way. You couldn't go through that in a workshop. You would be hard pressed to do just even the first chakra in like a weekend workshop or a week long workshop, where, because there's 7 directions, you've got, south, west, north, east, below, above, within. So if you did one of those journeys each day on that week and did, activities associated with each day, I still think that would be way too intense for most people, particularly when you start at the root, because your deepest issues are down there. A lot of shadow stuff, a lot of, if you've got a lot of curses, they're going to, be down there a lot of times. And when I say cursing, I should say it is more, um, what the Wandering Oracle says about curses, and I like what he says about this, is a curse is a lie that you believe about yourself. And so your very basic sense of self, like an identity, like, is down there at that root chakra. So when it's there, it's very, um, and you have to take your time and be gentle with yourself. when you're doing some of this work. If there is something that I have learned about doing any kind of energy work, energy healing, shamanic work, whatever it is, you have to go at a very gentle pace. Because when you start moving around these core energies, these core beliefs and core issues, the rest of you that has been built around those and all, your way of is shaken, and it is very disorienting, and can be very disturbing and can be actually quite scary, even though it's the healing. I've done depossession work, entity removal from people, and that have had something that is not part of their energy field, that's been attached and merged with them for so long that when we remove it, they don't feel like themselves because they had confused whatever that foreign energy was with themselves. And so they feel very untethered because they had built so much of their identity around this merged identity, which wasn't them. And it takes a while for them to, get back their equilibrium. So it's really important that, people take their time as they're, changing. I know it's common to a lot of people want to have this huge transformative experience and just be fine. And you can have huge transformative experiences, but then you're also going to want to have some integration time after that. I tell people, if you want the lightning path, I am not your practitioner. You can actually cause more damage in my thing, because I have broken myself trying to go too fast with energy development, and I'm so glad. Well, I'm not glad that I did. I'm glad I did it to myself rather than to somebody else, because I would have never forgiven myself had I done that to one of my clients. But because I did this way, 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 way long ago, before I was really seeing all that many serious clients, I got this experience, and it was terrifying. And I was having panic attacks from it before I figured out what I'd done. And then it took a while to calm those down, and then they would occasionally come back up again. And they still sometimes will come back when I have a triggering event for it. But it's less common, and they don't tend to stick around as long because I've kind of moved through them before. I just kind of see it's like, okay, well, is this a real thing, or is it just, a head issue? Is it something with my thinking? Because that can very much be the case. And I'm luckily blessed with lots and lots of signs and omens all the time. Things that happen is that you just get a lot of little, billboards, songs on the radio, turn on the TV, a certain movie's on, and a certain line is right there as you turn it on, and, stuff like that. Little things, but I tend to notice those things. So how about you guys? What's going on with you? I've just blabbed quite a long time about what I've been doing, what I've been working on. Trady says hello all. So I know I didn't announce this ahead of time. I never do. Abby Norma. Nice to see you too. I love your handle. That gets me every time. The first time I saw the movie Young Frankenstein, it was not long after we moved up here. I was like 9 or 10, I think maybe 9. Yeah, it was in the summertime. I think it was over a weekend. And for some reason, none of us could sleep that night. It was, just a warm summer night, and we turned on AMC. And at that time, way back then, they didn't have commercials on during the movie. So and they played it was the middle of the night, and they had Young Frankenstein on. It was the first time I'd ever seen it. And we roared with laughter. Abby Normal. So I love that handle, and I love that movie. So thanks thanks for coming on the YouTube stream. So again, I didn't plan any to talk about any of this. I was like, I'm just gonna ramble for a bit. Um, Abby Norma, yes. Cicely Erker, yes. We like Abby Normal. I mean, we're all a little bit Abby Normal, aren't we? I know I once knew someone who was so normal it was abnormal. Like they were just so, middle of the road. They just seemed so ordinary that they were just weird in their ordinariness. If that makes any sense, because usually someone has some little quirk or something. So anyway, that's like normal SpongeBob when he's smooth. I've never seen SpongeBob really. I I'm of that age that just passed me by. I'm more of a Venture Brothers fan. Believe it or not, as politically incorrect as they are, there's just something about them that is just hysterical. The writing is amazing. They pull in all these obscure references. Some of them I didn't even get because I'm not, I don't know a whole bunch about musicians and bands and stuff, but a friend of mine who's like a generation older than me, she gets all some of these weird, obscure references that I don't know about. But man, if you're looking for something that really takes apart Hanna-Barbera and all the sort of superhero tropes and super science and stuff like that and villains and oh gosh, it's great. Normal is just a sitting on the dryer, indeed. Um, and what's funny is like, I just wrote a blog about like missing the normal, I did that yesterday. I did nothing all week and then all of a sudden, boom, 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 post, post, post. And I'll take it, right? But how we're grieving normal, even though normal wasn't that great. At least it wasn't that great for me. Some people were doing, or at least they thought they were doing fantastic, but normal was very busy for sure. It was a lot busier. And now that we have time, we're starting to say, wait a minute, I didn't really like that. Or, normal got us to where we are. So I don't know how I feel. I don't want things to go back to normal, at least not the normal that they were. Yeah, breakup. Cecily's right. She just posted, it's like a breakup with the toxic ass. You miss them, but they treated you like trash. I literally put you have. Did you read the blog post? Because I literally put that in because I have had where I've broken, I've left people, I have ended relationships that were abusive and toxic, and oh my god, I was so pissed off because I would actually sit there and miss them. I'm like, oh, why am I missing them? Now part of that was like not every of them was torture, right? There were some good points. Otherwise, we would never had been friends, been together. And but it's very strange how you can miss something even though you know it's so bad for you. But yeah, absolutely. And that was a big, maturity thing to realize that, just because I miss someone doesn't mean I necessarily want them back. You just you didn't read the blog. You just have a gift for insightful and relevant comments in live stream chats. How many live stream chats do you frequent? But that's pretty funny. Yeah, I had that in my head, just this idea that it's like a toxic relationship, that's why we're missing it. And yet a lot of us are going, yeah, but it wasn't good for us at the same time. And What's the new norm? And I can tell you when things start to get um, a bit safer and a bit, I guess, what would you call it? Yeah, not neural, but when people start to venture out, when the restrictions are released and, things go back to start to, restart everything, restart business, there is going to be a big, huge push, both from business and from government, to go back to just the way things were. No, no, you can't have this. No, 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 we can't have universal health care. No, 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 we can't have a living wage. No, 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 you can't have a Green New Deal. No, we can't take care of the climate without destroying the economy. They're gonna try and say, no, no, that's just a pipe dream. You can't. And I'm here to tell you that's not true. We can have that if we demand it. Now, maybe my liberal colors are showing there, but I'm of the I firmly sit in the idea that we could all have a better world, and wouldn't that be better for everybody? I mean, seriously, not every revolution has to be bloody. I mean, wouldn't that be nice to have a totally bloodless, reinventing of society? I mean, it's not going to be bloodless because people are dying right now. Um, and I think, I try to remain hopeful and, you know, latch onto things that I'm looking forward to, at the same time honoring the people that are going through intense suffering right now. And which is one of the reasons why I want a better world. Because otherwise, what was that suffering for? You know, give it some meaning, make that count, demand better. I just got quiet. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Again, yeah. It's weird that Win-Win needs a sales job. I have tried to build my whole, I guess, if you call it a business strategy, it's not really my whole holistic practice around that. Like, I could do slick marketing. I could do way slicker marketing than I'm doing. Trust me. And people have tried to get me to do it. And I've fought them every step of the way. Maybe even to my detriment. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to look at that again. But I have always wanted to provide a service that is valuable to people, something that is useful to them, and then in turn be valued in return. Like, I don't want to just I don't want to pull one over on you. I want, if you're paying for my services, I want you to get your money's worth. I want you to get, huge. I want you to think wow, that was really good price for what I got. You know, that's what I want people to walk away with. Go, wow, that was so worth it. Because, it would be easy to rip people off and just say, oh, yes, now I see in this, in this life here, you were going this. And so we'll just, here, just say this word. I'm going to insert this code right here, and you are perfectly fine, and you will go forward and be successful. I mean, that really annoys me when I see people that are doing that. If you really want to get me angry, here's what you do. As another practitioner, you tell one of my clients that they are cursed and that you can remove that curse for them for a very high price. But only you know how to do that, right? I can't tell you how many people have come to me who they've told me that, other practitioners, even a few months ago, this one lady contacted me because she wanted to find a psychic online. She found one, and she wanted them to do some sort of spell for them to protect them from harm. And then the psychic turned around and said, now you have to pay me $500. Otherwise, I'm going to curse you and you're going to lose your eyesight and use of your legs. And then I got this email from this very panicked person, wondering what they could do and how much I cost. And I was like, what? I was so mad. I mean, I was shaking. I was so mad, which was good at the time because I was kind of in a slump for one reason or another. It happened at like the time of the year that I had the lowest amount of energy in like January, February. I tend to get down at that time of the year. And, but anger is like rocket fuel for me sometimes. I was so mad. I was shaking. And I was like, they did what? I was like, please tell me you did not give them any money. Yeah, exactly what WTH. Sorry, the comments over here. But yeah, this woman, I mean, I could have probably quoted her an insane price and she would have paid it. And the thing is that I've got a video on my channel that's like a protection shield. And it's like, I doubt this is even real and they can do that. But if they could, how about this? You go watch that video every day and for a while and see how you feel. If you still feel like you need to work with me on this, then I can guarantee I'm a lot cheaper than $500. But yeah, it's stuff like that that really makes me angry. I really don't like when people that are in my field do things to put the fear in people, because then they come to other practitioners. They're always forever looking over their shoulder, worrying about what's coming, and taking advantage of people. So I don't like people who do energy work that take advantage of people. In fact, if I find that you're doing that and I happen to meet you, you won't have a very pleasant experience with me. Let's just say I'll tear you a new one, verbally and publicly. So, I do get angry. I don't understand. Like everybody, I get angry. I mean, just because I do this kind of work and I do spiritual thing, I get angry. I get sad. I get depressed. I get frustrated. I get cranky. Sometimes I get whiny and self-pitying too, or sad, scared. I definitely get scared and anxious. That's all why I started on this path. Anyway, I was trying to like find a way to be okay, and still looking for that. But I mean, I'm better than I was. So, I mean, if you're better than you were, that's all you can hope for, right? So, how about you? What's going on? What do you want me to talk about? I'll talk about. I can ramble on just like minimal prompting. I think if you've been watching this live stream, you can tell that that's the truth, that I can ramble on just like minimal bits of information. So go ahead and hit me up in the comments. I know we don't have a huge audience because, again, I didn't announce it. I didn't announce that we're going to do a live stream. I just don't. It's a surprise. And it's so funny to see some of you guys on here that like you just want to be on. I guess you saw the notification. You clicked the little bell. Thank you for clicking the little bell and when you subscribed, because now you get told like, hey, the Mooneagle's is live streaming right now. What's going to come out of his mouth? I did do one swear word, so I can't monetize this live stream later. Oh well. This is not for kids anyway. And it wasn't really a bad word. I mean, if you know me personally, and if you've read my blog, you have no problem using swear words. I just tend not to do it on YouTube because of the monetization issue. But yeah, I have a filthy mouth. I mean, just filthy. I think the F word's probably my favorite word. I use it so much. And I use it more and more lately. You're playing Candy Crush while I'm live streaming. I played that for a while, and then I felt like my life was being sucked out of me, and I was being turned into a little Candy Crusher bot. I mean, it was fun a little bit, but then it gets, the large, And the further you go on, you need all the little extra things to actually get through a level. And then what's the prize for that? And getting into a more difficult level. And I'm like, hmm. So, and occasionally I need to numb out too. I mean, I've been debating whether or not to invest in some video games, but for me, I mean, occasionally I'll get a computer game every so often. But when I was growing up, I got an Atari when most people got a Nintendo. So I was just right on that cusp there where, one was overtaking the other. It hadn't quite happened yet. But I realized that I spent so much time playing video games growing up because I was alone. And now, it was filling the time so I didn't have to, feel alone. I play a lot of like role playing games on them because they take a long time to play. And you don't have to constantly be like, you could sit back, relax, throw a fireball at something. Um, and as I look back on that, and when I, go in to think about playing or getting a gaming system or getting games now, um, it actually makes me sad and depressed. It makes me feel more lonely. Um, so I actually like playing games with people. I'm still in the process of putting together that online D&D game with some friends. So almost had a dungeon master lined up. Almost. I have leads on like two more, so it'll happen. I know this is really boring for some of you guys, and you're hoping for like some great deep spiritual insights, but sometimes I just like to play games. I have found actually, I will talk about that a little bit because I think it's pertinent. A few years ago, I started having a game night. I didn't, and I really wanted one. Um, I was the youngest of my siblings, and I was, we were spaced pretty well apart. So I could never really get anyone to play games with me as a child. And I am a person who loves games. I just do. What I have found is that my shadow comes out a little bit when I'm playing games. Like none of my family will play Moncala with me anymore because I'm evil when I play Moncala. I really, I'm brutal. I think like 4 or 5 moves ahead. And playing cards same way. I'm really, we used to, the one of the games that we did play on occasion on holidays was Uno. I used to love playing Uno, and I remember being at my grandmother's house. I think it was for Thanksgiving, and my other grandmother was there too. She, came with us, and I think both my grandmothers, my two of my sisters, my mother was playing, and we would go and we just getting. I was like, draw four. Someone would get down and be like, hold on, I can get him. And I remember one game that just one hand that lasted like over an hour because we're all just like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, getting somebody. And so what I have found is that some of those shadow aggressive energies are balanced when I play games, because it's okay to be a little bit more competitive. And I find it, like, yeah. And for me, it does. It helps balance my psyche to play games with other people. And not all the games are that like competitive. One of my favorite games that I play with people is Dixit, which is a cool game about communicating but doing it subtly. Um, I also like Corkle. All these I saw on like the Geek at Sundry channel for tabletop, which really renewed my interest in that and being social. I socialize through games, through doing things because I'm very introverted mostly. I always say I'm not an extrovert. I just play one on TV, or in this case on YouTube. But there are certain times where more extroverted traits of me comes out, and one of those is when I'm playing games with other people. So I've done escape rooms. Those have been really fun. Um, I when this is past, I would like to do those again. Um, so I think that fun has been relegated to something like, oh, that's not necessary. We need to be productive. We need to do this. We need to do that. But I really think that fun is fundamental. Like if there's not joy, if there's not something, why are we alive, right? Just to survive, just to get by, just to, do our duties. Like, yeah, responsibilities matter, but enjoyment, celebration, that life, at least a good part of life, it should be. So that's my take on games and why they're important. There was a great TED talk about games and how they have shaped humanity and game theory. It was incredible. Like we can use games to grow, to learn, to do all sorts of and personal development. Um, that's amazing. And when we start to look at things from that perspective, it really opens things up. Are you missed that part of family too? Although lately, before this had happened, we were doing more puzzles. My sister got into puzzles. Um, she's more of a puzzler. I'm more of a gamer. Like that's just kind of how that is. Although we'd started one right before this. It's this beautiful like white dragon on like a cliffside with the beach and waves and the golden sky, the sunset. We got all the edge pieces done and just started a little bit on the interior, and then the lockdown happened. So she's not here. So and the deal is that we don't work on the puzzles when she's not here. So we have not touched that puzzle. It's been over a month. So yeah. More than you ever really wanted to know about how Mooneagle spends his personal time, right? Um, it's not all journeys, meditations, and exercise. Uh, sometimes it's movie night, sometimes it's game night, sometimes it's read a book. I'm not all that exciting, but that's okay. So does anybody have any really hopes or dreams how they hope their life will be after this? Because I'm really interested to see, I'm not even sure like what I want to do after this. I do want to still work with clients because I do love doing that and all, and I do enjoy teaching. I just know that the shape of it's going to have to change, but it's real and that's okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't put on the role of I am shamanic practitioner and I am a priest and I only do these things and I'm always holy and I never have an impure thought. No, that's not true at all. I have very impure thoughts often. Um, but when it's work time, it's work time. So like when I'm in session with you or working, I try to like, okay, like, yeah, because sometimes I'll be like, someone's looking at the time and going, they're almost out of their time. We only charge them for something. I'm like, whoa, you go stand in the corner, or my ego tries to get involved. Okay, shh. The grown up is talking right now. Go stand in the corner while I'm working. You can watch, but be quiet. Yeah, I struggle just like everybody else does. Sometimes more. Well, you think when you wake up and you become aware of energies and different things that, life is easier. Not necessarily, because then you can't hide behind your own stuff as much. Not if you're being honest with yourself. So, I mean, yeah. And I look at it just, I've started looking at it because, as I said, I've started trying to get into role playing games, but tabletop role playing games as opposed to video games. But even with the video games, like if you played any of the like really um, good RPGs that have different character classes, you know, it's about the strength of the party, not the individual character. Um, so you have someone who's really strong physically, and then you've got someone who's wise and can do the priestly healing spells. You've got the person that's the arcane person that can zap and do teleport you wherever. But it's very odd to have a character that does all of those things and does all of those things well. It's usually, you do some things well and you do some things not so well. And it's okay to have that. It's okay to have strengths and weaknesses. So, well, guys, it's getting late and we're getting close to an hour live streaming. I can't believe I've talked for almost an hour. It's 51 minutes. I can talk. That is true. I can talk. But I hope you've enjoyed spending this time with me. And I look forward to seeing you again. If you haven't checked out my latest video that I posted today, look at it because it's all about loneliness and isolation and dealing with that. So if you're struggling with that, go watch that video. That's my plug. All right. Good night, everybody.